Hey guys, it's Jacoya of Jacoya Gems. Thank you for coming back to my channel once again today. You could do me a favor, share the video, like, comment, as well as turn on the post notifications so that you can be notified every time I do upload a video. So staying in the theme and the topic of today of narcissistic abuse, PTSD, talking about gaslighting. I talked about deflection and projection on yesterday. And on my last video, I delved briefly into the dynamics of a malignant narcissistic relationships and the reactive abuse in comparison to PTSD. What I want to talk about now is how a person will end up just one of the ways possibly becoming into a relationship with someone that is a malignant narcissist. And I know I explained just very briefly that Dr. Romney said that on average, at least you have at least one narcissistic parent, and unfortunately, some people have two. So, what I really want to talk about today is the family scapegoat, because unfortunately, the scapegoat, as well as the other children, can enter into narcissistic relationships. We're not going to talk about the golden child on today, but a lot of time the golden child, him or her, they often become a narcissist or a sociopath themselves, while the scapegoat end up suffering from codependency, borderline personality disorder, enabling things like that. So let's get into it. I'll be reading from verywellmind.com, and this was written. This is an article written in June 11th of last year, written by Carolyn Snyder, and she's an MD. So this is a doctor that I'm reading from. Commonplace in toxic family scapegoats are children blamed for all the problems in dysfunctional household. The term scapegoat originates from the Bible in the book of Leviticus. The Israelites conducted a ceremony in which they directed their sins onto an scapegoat. Afterwards, they set the goat free into the wilderness to metaphorically cleanse the wilderness from the community. The scapegoat then bears the burden of taking on the misdeeds of a tribe, community, or family. And she continues, when children are assigned this role, the impact can be detrimental to their mental health and emotional well-being for a lifetime. In addition, it results in an upbringing in which the scapegoated child's inherent worth, goodness, and lovableness are ignored. Instead, insults, bullying, neglect, and abuse are deemed appropriate for the child forced into this position. How are scapegoats chosen? There is no rhyme or reason for how parents or caregivers decide to scapegoat a child. Factors as arbitrary as birth order, gender, looks, or intellect may influence an adult to scapegoat a child. For example, the only boy in the family might be the favorite or golden child, while the second born daughter is assigned the scapegoat role. Why a parent decides to scapegoat a child tends to not make any sense because this behavior is rooted in dysfunction. For example, a child who is sensitive, inquisitive, attractive, and smart might be perceived as a threat and scapegoated by parents who lack these qualities. On the other hand, a narcissistic parent might prefer the child who brings the most glory to the family, while scapegoating the child who does not boost the family's public image. In some cases, parents might mistreat children who resemble or remind them of the ex-parents. For example, biological children might be treated differently from stepchildren or adopted children. Parents may also scapegoat children based on skin color, sexual orientation, or gender identity. There are a myriad of reasons why a parent might choose to scapegoat a child, but it's never a child's fault. It is clear how nonsensical scapegoating is when one considers that some parents rotate the role of the family scapegoat. Perhaps for years the son was the golden child, and then he upset the parent in some way that led to the lone scapegoated daughter becoming the favorite. Only children of dysfunctional and abusive parents report that they are sometimes a golden child and others the scapegoat. The same child may have these roles projected onto them, indicating just how troubled parents who engage in this behavior are. I'm going to leave a link down. She further goes into by saying parents who scapegoat their kids might have been raised in dysfunctional families in which children were scapegoats and others were the golden children. They might have a personality disorder, such as narcissistic disorder or borderline personality disorder, which leads them to idealize and devalue others or engage in black and white thinking. It's a lot more sad talk about the effects of being a scapegoat, be basically being singled out, begging for the family love, being deemed the quote unquote bad one in the household, and having one's positive attributes looked over. And this is called distress and results in the individual entering friendships that are up and down, romantic relationships, up and down, abusive work relationships, harmful things, so on and so forth. It mentions gaslighting. This is very, very, very good article. And it also begins to talk about how the child will begin to try to self-harm throughout their life. And so it's very important that we begin to start looking and digging into a lot of these terms psychologically so that we can understand and see in depth what role it is that we played in our household dynamics growing up in order to begin to peel away and dig back the layers of what it is that's wrong with us. Because unfortunately in the Black community, a lot of us, I'm gonna say this, I feel like that there's something wrong with everybody, whereas personality wise, mentally, emotionally, something. Nobody is perfect. Everybody is jacked up in some way. Some just in different ways than others, some in deeper ways than others. Some of us are just a lot more self-aware than others, but there is something wrong with everybody. And for the people who don't think that anything is wrong with them, those are the ones that something is wrong with the absolute most. And so, as I was saying, unfortunately in the Black community, mental illness, emotional illness, and personality disorder, first of all, few people really know the difference between all of them because it's so many layered things and you could have multiple things at one time. But mental health and emotional health are not taken serious. Even personality is not taken serious. We oftentimes just brush things away and say that is how they are. She is how she is, or you know how they are, so don't talk to them about that, or you know how they react. So we have been taught and groomed as children to walk on eggshells around our parents, to walk on eggshells around our grandparents, to walk on eggshells at school, to not voice our opinions. Or if we have been taught that we could voice our opinions, when we finally decide to voice our opinions, we're either abused or physically intimidated or told to shut up or belittled, or we're talked about. We're told that we could tell our parents anything, and then we go in and we confess and tell them anything. They lash out at us and they throw things in our face. And then it's no wonder why when we enter into a relationship with people, whether it be friendship relationship or romantic relationship, and they mirror that which we know, we fall, and we fall so deep because we say, oh, this is familiar for me. This is something, they feel like home. They remind me of my daddy. They remind me of my mama, or they're the exact opposite, not realizing a lot of times that we think it's the opposite. It's really the same. It's really the same. And so if you have been scapegoated as a child, it's part of you that is still stuck in your adolescent. And it's hard at times to fight against the victim mentality because you have been victimized by people growing up, and it's made you a target, as this doctor said, for narcissistic abuse from relationships, period. But what you have to realize is that the Most High will never put more on you than you can bear, and that it is time for you to step out of a victimization and turn into a victor. Because too long have we been codependent on family, too long have we been codependent on people, too long have we walked around wounded and not living up to our greatest potential because we play mental gymnastics with ourselves because of hot and cold behavior. People tell us they believe in us, but they don't support us. So that's up and down. That's a trauma bond right there. And so we tell ourselves that we believe in ourselves, but we don't push ourselves and we don't operate in consistency. We battle with procrastination and we let life get the best of us because we start to believe that which it is that we have been taught, indoctrinated in. And then when we try to hold those around us accountable for the roles that they played in our life, they want no parts on it. But that is okay. I come to tell you today that if you are becoming self-aware, if you are waking up to your own mess, to your own bull, when you do something, and even if you're still struggling, as long as you're getting on your nerves, as long as this is aggravating you, if you're being an adjutant to yourself, I'm telling you to just keep going, but do not allow the world to make you a scapegoat any longer. Make this your time of setting boundaries. Make this your time of learning how to truly love yourself, how to truly adore yourself, because this is something we have not been taught thoroughly. This is something that we have not been exhibited because we cannot be given. what people did not have. So to those of us, just generally speaking, possibly self-included, possibly self-not included, that have been scapegoated one time or another, focus on you. Do what it is that you have to do, but above all, own up to the roles that you play in your life and the access that you give people. And don't let it happen anymore. Don't change your heart to the point where you become cold, but change your heart to the point where you have boundaries, but also prepare yourself for when you establish these boundaries that people gonna say you switched up, people gonna say you acting funny, people gonna say a lot of things, but greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. So you don't have to bear the burden of the world anymore. Thank you guys for watching my video. If you don't mind, once again, turn on your post notifications, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I really pray that this bless somebody on today. Food for thought.